Welcome to As Long as the River Flows, a Keepers of the Water podcast. Episode 25, Part 3, Indigenous Bear Teachings with Jeff Wastesicoot. In numerous Indigenous cultures, the bear, or Muskwa, holds profound significance. Numerous narratives and teachings delve into the importance of bear wisdom, medicine, and lodges. The bear imparts many lessons through its way of life. Join Keepers of the Water as Jeff Wastesicoot explores bear teachings.
Attention to temitak, stame eviatam skaatagok. Saatsiginogan tuhtamek. Ina, evinanaskumakuutta, ina on which kataina maguisiak. Teviga giugahtuaguutta. Tevit peatsemostatuak. Mina kottagisika mini guisiak. Ekusisipitama. First of all, I want to greet each and every one of you that are here. Foremost, thank Creator for today. The gifts that we still carry today and that knowledge. I was thinking a lot about the past couple of days about Muskwa. We tend to translate a little bit different than what the English term knows about this bear. They call it a bear, and if you ever look it up, they refer to it as a carnivore, like a real scary. They instill fear in that term bear. What really connects us to Muskwa is that connection to the land and to the medicine. And I want to share a little story with you because it's these stories that evolves us to be able to spiritually understand rather than creating a perception of that term bear from that English language. A long time ago, my grandmother, my Koko, was still alive. She had shared a story with me on what the connection to the laws of the land were. And a lot of times we tend to articulate and translate things a little bit different than the English language. Where the Muskwa came from, it evolved from the grass. And it talks about Muskoshi. That's what we call the grass. And that's where his life came from, Muskoshik, hence the word Muskosis, Muskwa. And those terms I want to be able to highlight within the story that I want to share with you. I thought about a lot of the lodges. One of the lodges that we carry is called the Bear Lodge and the Bear Ceremony. There's protocols that are in place in order for one to call upon these ceremonies. And I know that part of this creation story, I also want to make note that there are 4 knowledge keepers in these directions from the east, the south, and the west, and also the north. And so they vary in different when we come to storytelling. This one in particular is the one that I want to share with you today of what connects us to the land. And it comes from my grandmother had told me the story about Muskwa. My grandmother said that the bear evolved from the grass. And when he arose 4 times. The very first one, they referred to this little bear that first awoken from the grass. They call him, out here in the west, they call him Wagaiwis. Over in the east, they call him Opatsawansis. And there's a reason why they call him Opatsawansis, because Epatanahanasket, meaning he'll crawl up a little tree and he'll make that thing bend. Waginate. Hence the word, that is where they come from. Waginogan, one of the lodges. Again, when he arose, he had spoke, because at one time, all of creation spoke one language on Turtle Island. And he said, when he woke and brought his life from the grass, he says, "O Manila, o teni isipoetan, katisip mamemi tigo masipi, misiwe evinte sipoe maskawahtamuak, ay sinyo gitawayapachita taskino." When this little bear awoke, he says, "I will follow the eastern waters, and I will go give strength to the land for the people to use and utilize." The second one that got up, a black bear rose the second time from the grass. And he said, "Umani nagapena timiwak, eguteni nagaisipoetan, misyooma, evinte sipoe maskawahtamuak, ay sinigitawyapa chita. Egutitawyut sinatamashat askino. When the second bear, the black bear, arose, he says, I will follow the southern waters, and I will go give strength to the land for the people to use so that they may be healthy. The third one that arose from that grass, he said, Uteni na sagit tawag ni kay sipuetan. Egutesite pagaimuan, uwatsia, tawyawag kamigak. Egutemisyente sipe maskawahta muakaskino ay sinigitawyapachita. Egutitawchiminat. The third bear that arose was the brown bear, the grizzly bear. He says, I will follow the western waters, and I will go give strength to the land for the people to use. For I have enough strength to climb all the mountains and the terrain, and I will go give strength to the land. The third one that arose, the fourth one, the last one, Neoga pepashikote ogo omashko. Umishigito, epigashwatiguak. Utenina, kishipigamaga wishipoetian. Egoteni gaitotan. Mishirevinte shipoemaskawata mogashkino, ay sinugitawyapachita. Maga, namoyoni na nikakawishimon. Ewi papiagik, ay sinuak. Ewi gashkino mo, tantege ti shigiwe, chika chagu nagashikawe. Fourth one arose was the polar bear. He says, I will go to the northern waters, and I will go give strength to the land for the people to use so that they may be healthy. But I will not go to sleep. I will await for the people, and I will show them the pathway back to the star world where they came from. That is why when these ones manifested from the grass, in the fall time, when the medicines are about to go to sleep, the grass will lay down. That's why the bear, Muskwa, has to go to sleep and lay down too, and becomes dormant in hibernation. So this is the keeper to a lot of the natural medicines. When we say Muskwa, that's a parable meaning the strength and the power of the land. The power and the strength of the land. Muskawak, Muskawisi. You hear that, eh? And Muskwa and Muskigi. So in this term here, when you take a look at this, you see Muskigi. The very first parable talks about the power and strength. Gige talks about your homelands, the spiritual power and strength of your homelands. That's what Muskigi means to us. It does not mean medicine from the medical term. In these teachings, we always got to have laughter. And I want to tell you a little story about a brother of mine says, boy, I got a bear song for you. He says, but you can't record it. I said, okay. I was really, really happy to get this song, eh? And his name is Ed. He lives in Winnipeg. Brother, I got a song for you. It's a bear song. Here it goes, but I don't want you to record it. It goes like this. Do-do-do-do-do. Can't get enough low sugar crisp. So that's the bear song. In time with these things, we need laughter in a lot of our teachings. So I ask you not to record that song. In the terms of Muskwa, it talks about the carriers of one of our of many lodges. And a lot of times prior to us entering in that big lodge, the Sundance Lodge, we honor this bear because it carries a lot of medicines. We utilize a lot of the bear grease, the bladder, the feet that we utilize, even the hide. We call that Musko Utagonagan. Utagonagana is what we refer to as a robe. And we honored this because it had medicine on it. The brain matter also was a medicine to us. The tongue that lifts, there's a little bone in there. We use that as medicine. And all these things, the back of those back straps on the bear were that. A lot of people used to be able to eat this bear. I find it so sacredly that I don't bother it because it's in a star world. That big dipper that you see in the northern sky represents that big bear. And that's the one that shows us our journey home when we leave this world, when we pass away. That's the one that carries and shows us that direction towards home, to where our creation came from. So within this one that said that he was going to go and prepare the land prior to us coming into this world, we were always standing upright. And the teachings that we were told about the bear, and a lot of these ones, the medicines have a name to them, just like the bear root, the maskuminanatik, maskumina, maskupagwa, agumina, asinim maskwa, wanigiawa. These are terms of the medicines, the natural medicines that we come to understand. So in preparing medicines, we always acknowledge through prayer of that give and take relationship. One of the things that and it gives us the strength to be able to connect spiritually. So when that question, what does it actually represent? It represents the doorway to the land of how and one of the things is it creates that relationship through these stories. And they're not legends, they're not myths, they are the relationship we must have with the land. So within these creation stories, I come to realize that a lot of the medicines have a bear name to it, just like the bear root, the mountain ash, we call it maskuminana, maskumina, the bear berries, and they refer to that as giniginig or giginigan is what they refer to it, bearberry bush. So every one of these things have an acknowledgement to it. One of the things that connects us to that land is being able to honor it and respect it. And a lot of times, a lot of these ones, you'll see the hump on its back. Waigan is what they call it. And this is what they refer to the bear lodge. And some of them is composed of 40 willow lodges, and being able to understand that creation story of all of these 40 willows, that they have a representation and a significance to it. Just like the star chart that you see back here, these 40 stars, these 40 diamonds that are around here in the white, it talks about that bear lodge there. So the star blanket and the star teachings are all composed of that creation story. So when we acknowledge this bear, we call this Uwaigan, that big hump on its back. And these are representations of those lodges. Even the horse has that hump on its back, Uwaigan. Hence the word Waginogan. They're the carriers of these lodges. So when we put up a horse lodge, a buffalo lodge, a bear lodge, and they even have a moose lodge, I know that the Blackfoot people, they carry a beaver lodge. These are the ones that are held sacredly, and being able to understand them within your language definitely opens the doorway to that spirituality. Because when we present to you as a bear, the only perception that you're going to create by yourself, it's a carnivore. I got to be afraid of it. This is not about fear. It's about respecting distances. 2 years ago, me and my son, we were down duck hunting down the bank here, and we came upon a bear. Said, "Dad, look at that bear." I said, "My boy, just say, Awas Muskwa, Awas." But he's got to hear you. So he hollered out loud, "Awas Muskwa." And the bear, Muskwa, looked at him and walked away. I said, that's how because you need your language to connect to the land. And one of the things that he said, I said, my son, if you said, there's a bear, and if you run from that bear, he doesn't understand that language. He's going to chase you, thinking that, come and get me, I'm a happy meal, So it's what really connects us to that land is the language. So we use a foreign language to these things. We are not connected anymore. And that's why there's such a big movement on with language. So how we extract and use these medicines, we have to go back to the origins of language. And one of the things is the laws of the land. And like Daffy was saying, these are the laws of the land that we must share. We have yet to come to that shareness. And I don't know what's happening. As I travel throughout Saskatchewan, Manitoba, all of Alberta in the southern parts, you see all these farm fields say, no trespassing. Until we're able to break down these walls of sharing that knowledge to this land, just like if we went to England, we're not going to know anything about the lands of England because it's foreign land to us. We don't know the laws of the land. So in this treaty, we were supposed to come together and amalgamate and teach them about the laws of the land. Yet that has not been done in this relationship of treaties. There is another story. I don't want to get into this long story because the old ones always told me, never cut your story short. Always go right through. And in due time, these stories will be exposed because it's a time for us to begin to learn. Part of that story, a 2-year-old bear, we call him Muskwa. Muskwa is what we call him because they go through rites of passage as they go. They're called different. They're just not called bear, little bear, and this and that. We call it, Opatsawansis to Opatsawansis in the east, and over here to the west, they call them Huagayos. That 2-year-old, a mother will only walk with these ones for 2 years. And that's why they call them Muskwa. They now have the skills to be able to forage for themselves. And then within that 4th year, they begin their cycle over again. So this is when they begin mating after 4 years. And then again, Nusemaskwa, Pemaskwa is what they would call them. So there's different names to them. And that's the relationship we have. It's just not a bear to us. So again, we got to be very cautious. And this is why we need to speak on behalf of our Mother Earth, because these ones don't have a voice to speak on them for themselves. So with all the industries that are clear cutting and even the waters, even the animals will not be healthy. So I'm glad that this water keepers are being a voice to those elements and our sacredness of being able to say, wait a minute, we can't destroy this, or we'll have no more Muskwa, we'll have no more Muskigi, and so forth. So with that, I just want to stop there. And I want to thank you for lending me your ears today to be able to listen to this.
We have time for a couple of questions. You talked a little bit about hibernation. Can you tell us any understanding you have about the bear and the hibernation and what's happening at that time?
They understand when it's about time to hibernate. And one of the things that a bear does, and I was shown this medicine, that they go dig up by the water, and it almost looks like a big onion. And they call it Nepawask is what they call it, And this bear eats it, And that's what actually puts him to sleep, And I know that in the time when this hibernation, when that grass begins to lay down, and we see the grass laying down, and that is the time for them to go and hibernate, And it's a cycle. When you take a look at the moons, and I wanted to share one more thing with you. Pay attention when it comes towards January, when the Thunderbird comes home in January, It's going to be warm. Sometimes you're going to see lightning or rain. And what's going to happen is all the willows that we already had a frost already of all the frosting of the willows. That were the very first ones to be born. In January, when you see, meaning when you see the frost of all the trees and the willows, that is when the bears are born. The cubs are born. So the first breath of air that the old ones would say, when they inflate those lungs, they frost up the whole trees, the willows, and everything. So pay attention to that, because the land, we're able to read the land and also read the sky. And that's what our elders taught us,
That was Jeff Wastesicoot. Thank you for listening. Make sure you go to the Keepers of the Water YouTube channel and Facebook page and like and subscribe for more content. If you wish to donate to the cause or find out more about Keepers of the Water, make sure you visit our website at keepersofthewater.ca. And don't forget to download and subscribe to the podcast to be the first to hear new episodes. Miigwech.